One of the most basic ways to pass the ball. You can't really go wrong with this one as long as your teammate doesn't miss. Sometimes you see your teammate on the wall, or maybe a defender is blocking the low pass, so instead you hit the ball high, and that makes it an air pass. This happens a lot when playing threes, where sometimes you go for an aerial shot, but you see your teammate down below and change your mind last minute to pass it instead, which usually works out better than taking a shot. This is the same as the last one, but since you're a Plat player, it ends up going horribly wrong, and next thing you know, the ball is in your net. This type of pass should be used by pretty much every rank since it allows your team to keep possession and stop a counterattack from forming. Just like a back pass, but instead of going front to back, it goes from back to front, which actually that's just a normal pass. Sometimes your teammate gives you a back pass, but you don't really want it. So just pass it back to him. Well, it turns out your teammate gave you a back pass which you didn't want, so you pass it back to him, which he didn't want either, so he passes it back to you, then you pass it back to him, and this pretty much goes on for the rest of the game. Popularized by the GOATs Jazer and MK, you do this one by going up one wall and passing it to your teammate who is spinning excessively like a champ player in ranked. This is for the times where one pass just isn't enough. The double pass is not only harder to defend, but it also looks way cooler. One of the most rare types of passes in Rocket League. It's pretty much only used by SSL players and above, but if you pull this off, it's basically impossible to stop. Used by champ players and above, this type of pass is extremely useful to fake out the defenders by making them think you're going for a redirect, when in reality, it's just a drop down pass. A must-have when playing threes, this pass is very useful since it sends the ball middle at a negative angle, which is almost always a perfect shot for your teammate. I know every one of you is familiar with this one, where you send a perfectly placed pass, but your teammate is unfortunately bad at the game. This type of pass is done by bronze, silver, gold, plat, diamond, champ, grand champ, and SSL players, and that's when you're attacking with 3 defenders in the net, which means even a perfectly placed shot is probably gonna get saved. But oh, look at that! Your teammate is perfectly set up on the left side for a pass which has a much higher chance of going in. So what do? Of course, you take the shot anyways. Surprise, surprise, it gets saved, you start a counterattack, and now you're down 4 goals. Same scenario as the last one, but this time you actually have a brain and pass it instead of taking the shot. And just like that, you guys score. Nah, never mind, your teammate sucks. Okay, this time you have a brain and you have a good teammate, and just like that, your team scored a goal. Once again, mainly used by champ players and above, this type of pass is where you bounce it off the wall, essentially passing it to yourself, which gives you a chance to score in whatever way you choose. So you bounce it off the wall, pass it to yourself, but since you're a nice guy, you pass it to your teammate after. Now, with all this passing you've been doing, your opponents are gonna get suspicious and start expecting your passes. So that's when you hit them with a little fake, and bam, broke their axles with a fake pass. This one's for all the mechanical players that want to make a pass just a little bit more flashy, and it can also help you get a pass at a tough angle that wouldn't be possible without a flip reset. Only the most mechanical of mechanical players can make this pass. It's incredibly difficult, usually not even that effective. It's more just kind of a flex. This one's, actually this one's pretty easy. Even a bronze could do this. This one is very useful, and it can fake out your opponents by making them think you're going for a shot, when in reality, you're just setting up your teammate behind you. Very smart play to make, and usually works very well. If you want the ball to fly at unreasonably fast speeds, then all you have to do is drive the ball right into your teammate, make sure both of you flip as you make contact, and just like that, the ball is flying at 3.5 million miles an hour. This happens where you accidentally pinch the ball with your opponent instead of your teammate. It's really only a good thing if it doesn't end up going in your own net. I don't know why you would ever use this, but it's there, it's possible. Is it useful? No. Just like the name suggests, this is a pass from a musty flick, and that's pretty much it. Another extremely effective pass. This is where you pass it to your teammate by bouncing the ball off the ceiling, which makes it very difficult for a defender to read, while also making it pretty easy for your teammate to read. Very effective and definitely something you should start doing. Reserved for the ultra sweaty players, this is where your teammate fakes the kickoff, grabs the side boost while you boom it up to them, and hopefully they score, but since this is mostly done by diamond players, they always miss. Sometimes you go for a ceiling shot, but since you're bad, you end up missing. However, luckily for you, your teammate was there to save you from your mistake, and now it looks like it was on purpose. Just like the name says, you pass it with your butt. That's it. That's the pass. Similar to the backboard pass, a lot of opponents won't see this coming, but all you do is hit the ball into the corner, which makes it bounce center and allows your teammate to score. Just make sure there's not a lot of defenders in the net, or else they could also read the pass and start a counterattack. Now, I know all of you are familiar with this one. It happens where you're actually going for a shot on the net, but you miss, and somehow it ends up being a perfect pass and your teammate scores it. Was it on purpose? No. But did it work? Yeah, and that's all that matters. Sometimes your teammate forgets what team they're on and decides to perfectly dime up the opponents for a shot. Why did they hit it right into the wall where they know it will bounce middle? The world will never know. This can be pretty hard to get the timing down in real games, but very often the ball will bounce from the sidewall and almost all opponents think you'll take a shot here, but in reality, you're actually gonna pass it middle for a teammate. Very effective, and it can fake out the defenders pretty well. Honestly, I feel bad for anyone that has made this type of pass. You almost had a clip, you were so close, but you know, maybe next time.
They got space, LeBron's got another look inside to Love. What a sweet pass by James.
This one is very rare. I doubt anyone watching this has even made this type of pass, but if you go for a cucks or pinch and it's not on target, then hopefully your teammate is there to score it anyways, and then you can say you made one of the most rare passes in the game. This one can be pretty tricky to get the timing down, but if you learn it, you can get very powerful clears from the corner that make for great passes. This is pretty common and it's a very useful thing to practice if you want to rank up, but many times you'll find yourself on the backboard with the ball coming right at you, and if you time it correctly, you can hit a power shot off the backboard and get a very powerful clear up to a teammate. It is pretty tricky to time correctly, so make sure to practice it often.
Assistència de Xavi, més capradeta per Messi, Messi, immens Messi, encara 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 Messi.
This pass is very common and happens when you carry the ball on the opponent's backboard and then you hit it out for a teammate down below. It's very effective and very hard to stop. If you happen to be a paranormal spirit, then you might be familiar with this pass. It happens when your car appears to not even hit the ball. It was just a ghost hit, but the game still registered it as a pass.
Brady goes for the deep shot. He's got a touchdown! Scotty Miller!
And last but not least, the pass that every single one of you has experienced. Which goal was it scored on? Who scored it? Was it even a pass? Nobody knows, cause the servers are shit.